So the Xbox reveal's done. The Xbox One, that's the name of it, which now means we have to reference the first Xbox as the Xbox One One. The reveal event wasn't very good. They've really focused on the Xbox One being a multimedia hub, which is what I suggested they would do in the last video. And if anything, it felt like a rehashed version of the last year's E3 presentation. All they did was show Kinect 2, which is built into the Xbox, which I really do not want. It just, I don't like Kinect. I don't know a lot of people that really do like Kinect. What they seem to be doing with it now is, it seems to be more of a way to navigate the dashboard and the Xbox in general, rather than play stuff with it. Maybe they just realised that motion controls are kind of done. But the main focus was TV. I don't know why. You could switch from slide to slide, you could multi-box, you could have like one thing there and one thing here. That always confused me, because surely if you're watching a program, your full attention's on this program, so why would you want a second thing underneath? Unless it's a sport. I can understand, like, say, Sky Sports, it's the last day of the season, there's 3 teams and that could be relegated, there's 1 spot left, you can have like the different matches dotted around the screen. That would be cool. But for other stuff like films and TV shows, like say if you're watching Game of Thrones, you won't be concentrating on Game of Thrones. You don't like Game of Thrones, yeah, and something else in the corner. It doesn't seem like a logical thing to do. They seem pretty hyped up on that as well. You could control it with smart glass or mobile phone. Again, it seemed kind of pointless considering you'd be in the same room anyway. It just seemed they were trying to be a bit too fancy. You can use Skype. They're acting like it's a new thing. I mean, Skype on the consoles, I don't honestly know anyone that would probably use Skype. I'm not sure if it's going to replace Xbox Live Party Chat. They never said anything, but at the minute, I'm a bit skeptical on how popular it will be on the consoles. What else did they show? They showed like just random bits and bobs. They're talking about this new thing where you could go in ESPN, which won't exist in Europe, and you could watch certain events in new ways. You could track your fantasy fantasy basketball and NFL teams, and it was all built in ESPN. The problem is, in Europe, we're not going to have it ESPN by the end of this month, at least in the UK. I don't know if it's like throughout Europe, but in the UK, we're not going to have ESPN at the end of this month, so we're probably not going to get that. NFL, there's a big NFL thing with the Xbox One. As you know, NFL is not particularly popular in the UK, so again, I don't think we'll be getting that. And they were 2 main focuses of the reveal event, so we're not getting 2 of the main things they were really pimping out, which confuses the fuck out of me, because Microsoft seem so hard-driven towards robbing the European side of their customer base of content, but still like really hardcore covering it at events and reveals like this. It just confuses us to why they would do it constantly. I know, I don't want to sound bitter, it's just from like a business perspective and the perspective of trying to sell your system, this new system, you want people to be really interested in it, yet you're isolating a large portion of your customers. And then the problem is, they just didn't really show anything to get anyone excited. They showed a new Halo TV show, well they announced it, that it's a live action Halo TV show, and it's going to be either produced or directed by Steven Spielberg. They didn't say what his role would be. Alright, that's pretty cool for new Halo games, but is it something to put in a reveal event for your new console? I'm not so sure. It just seems like you would add that as filler, you know, maybe at E3 between games, like, here's this new game, and then here's blah blah blah, and yep, got a new Halo TV show, leaves the stage, new game. Not comes to the stage and sort of there, new TV show, get excited about it. I mean, they didn't say if it was exclusive to the Xbox even. They just said, you know, it's a TV show. It could be on Netflix before long, like Forward Unto Dawn is. It's just, Microsoft had a really weird approach to this whole reveal thing. They didn't show any games. They showed like gameplay footage. They showed 2 trailers for new IPs, exclusives. One was something to do with quantum theory or something, and the trailer really didn't make much of an impact. I laughed at it because it was quite funny. New Forza game, I think we all expected that. That's going to be a launch title. That's a pretty strong launch title in fairness, but personally, I'm not interested in Forza games, so I can't really say much on that because I'm biased. Uh, what else? They were talking about how the new system can allow developers to have free reign in creation. That kind of confused us, mainly because Microsoft's old stance on how they approach content being on the Xbox. If you remember the orange box, Valve were trying to release Team Fortress 2 updates quite regularly, like they did with the PC for the 360 version. But Microsoft just said no. They wanted money attached to each update, so the players would have to pay for it, like DLC. And I've heard this from various different other companies trying to do the same thing, like free updates, but Microsoft want them to be DLC. So for them to come out now and say, yeah, this new thing, this new Xbox One allows developers to produce whatever, I'm thinking that's still going to be limited by their view of, yeah, this must be DLC, they must pay for it. They also have the new sort of shareability thing, which is the next big thing in consoles, sharing your content, bragging rights, where you could create like little videos. They didn't say how long they would be, they didn't say if you could do like voiceovers, it was just literally a clip and you could edit it, upload it. I'm not sure if it was like the YouTube. I would imagine it'd be YouTube and like maybe Twitch. So that's something that can really enlighten people on later on. I like that feature. It seemed like a nice little feature. It helps build communities, like certain video games. So that was something that kind of piqued my interest in a sort of pool of mehness. And then the big thing was Call of Duty Ghost came to the stage. They had this nice little behind the scenes video where they were showing like motion cap, how the new system works, how the new engine works, that the revamped multiplayer didn't really tell you a whole lot. It was just more of a, this is what we're planning to do. And then they had an in-game trailer. Honestly, the game looks nice. I've never really had a big disdain towards Call of Duty. I have towards the community I play it online, but the Call of Duty games as a whole, I think they're very solid action experiences. There's nothing profoundly wrong with them, but there's nothing profoundly groundbreaking about them. They're just kind of adequate action experiences. But for Microsoft to use this as a main focus again, because they did this last year with Black Ops 2 and with Modern Warfare 3, it seems a bit weird that they're so gun-ho and like, yeah, Call of Duty, we've got timed exclusive DLC. Timed exclusive, not exclusive, timed exclusive. So it's really not that much of a biggie. But overall, the Xbox One, the reveal just wasn't that good. They focused on stuff that wasn't really relevant to what people wanted. It was just a rehash of last year's E3. They were showing stuff that no one cared about, like how Kinect works in the same exact way as it did last time, how smart glass and mobile phones will work exactly the same way as last time. It just felt kind of disappointing. The Xbox One itself is an ugly, just an awful looking console. It really does look like one of them really, really old, cheap looking VHS players. Like the proper chunky ones, like the huge slot, and it was like this little shitty piece of plastic that looked like a logo. It looks abysmal. I'm guessing it's going to get redesigned after a year because they always do that, the Xbox Slim Elite, blah blah blah. But this, it just looks awful. Whoever designed that thing needs to get sacked. So yeah, the reveal event just wasn't very good in my opinion. It didn't do anything for me. I don't think it did anything for a lot of people. The lack of games, the stuff that they were just constantly going on about, the whole relationship with your telly that they kept knocking on about constantly. I don't think they did themselves any favours, and that's reflected by Sony's stock prices just going on a rise now, like quite a sharp rise after the event. I think interesting times are at E3. Nintendo's not there, and now that just leaves the field, so to speak, for Sony and Microsoft to duke it out. Microsoft's at a disadvantage, I'm going to say that, because Sony did a pretty good job with their PS4 reveals and their teasers. So that was that. I'll be interested to know what people's thoughts are on the console itself, the reveal, the potential it has, and for what E3 could hold. So, yep, Xbox One reveal, not all that great.